Well, good evening, everybody. Well, good morning, actually. This is the first time I've done a morning stream for a very long time. But welcome along to the Down Under series here on R-Factor 2. We've just got 13 minutes to go in qualifying at the moment. I am your commentator for this morning, Tom Dillon. And, well, we're looking forward to what is set to be a pretty exciting race around the Hiden Valley race. It's the Hiden Valley Sprint. And well, let's not waste much time because we've already got a little bit of quali having ran. And let's go straight down to the track where we look at Mark Young head out on an outlap. And we'll put the sound of the engines on as well. These wonderful V8 supercars. And, well, it's currently only one time being, well, a couple of times being set, actually, in the qualifying session. Craig Broadbent is currently on pole position with a 101.7, with Brett Gordon just in second. Gooden, even, I should say. And, well, the times are flying in. Wayne Walker is currently closest, I'd say, to a pole position lap time with 2 purple sectors, and then eventually going into pole position in the number 1 car. As looking further down the order, seeing if there is anyone on an improvement. Asker is going to come across the line. He is obviously green in both sectors. The question is, what is it going to be? It's going to be enough for 10th. And, well, in the number 74 car, that's a very respectable position to get up to. We've got 22 drivers on the grid today, so it's a very, very full grid. And I imagine going down into turn 1, it's going to get a little bit intense as Stephen White comes across the line to start his first flying lap of the evening. The morning, I should say. It's caught me out a couple of times now. Number 97. And actually, let's use Stephen to take us on a little bit of a lap guide around it. As he sets himself up for the left-hander. Breaks down to second gear, first gear. And then applies the throttle, sets himself up for the next right-hander, and oh dear. Not too sure what's happened there to Stephen, or whether that is actually something on my end. As it appears, we have got a minor issue here with the connection. And I'll just refer to Discord to see if this is an issue with me or if it's genuinely an issue with the game, and it appears that it has got something to do with me. So if you give me a moment, I'm just going to head over to the cinematic shot. We'll go back to the intro music, and actually I've just heard we're back into the game, so no one saw, no dramas. And well, with 10 minutes to go in the qualifying session, 9.5 minutes I should say, we're back and raring to go, and I do apologise about that. As we look at Wayne Walker, current pole sitter, not improving on this particular occasion, but well, going into the pits. And actually I'm just going to quickly refresh the overlay for you, just so that everything is caught up after the incident with the connection, and trying to figure out if anyone's improving. With 10 minutes to go, you'd be thinking that everyone finishing their banker laps now and just heading back into the session to try and start to set some proper times, as Sean Stafford only goes as good as 12th with a 102.9. Mark Young is improving in the first sector for Peanut Racing. got a little bit of traffic ahead, and actually that's going to slightly impede him. I'm not too sure who that was just ahead of Mark Young, but I know for a fact he's going to be slightly frustrated that may have hampered his lap here. And oh dear, we've got another issue again. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, but if we go back and you give me a moment, I'll see if I can fix it the best I can. And just actually message my the broadcast handler, but well, everything's fine on the OBS end. It's just clearly something going horrifically wrong with the connection to the server, and well, I'll give you news on that as soon as I get it. As I can tell you that the only thing I see in my RF2 window is a blank screen, so that's not encouraging. And if you just give me one moment, I'll try and figure out if we can sort that. There we go, we're back in. But I ought to send a message regardless, just to sort this out, because I'd hate for something like that to happen during the race. As we switch back to Paul Robinson. For Paul Robinson Racing. And currently on, probably you'd say, a bit of an in-lap. And that being said, he has improved in the first sector, so maybe not an in-lap from Paul Robinson. As we'll see what he can do heading through Sector 2. His V8 Supercars always very much on edge. Not an improvement in the end for Paul Robinson. But he is able to stay 12th. This has got much pressure from behind at the moment. That being said, Alex Daly is improving, and he's going to be a little bit off, I'm believing, looking at the timing sheet. But how off? Off enough to put him 16th, 103.0 for Alex Daly. And with a bit of traffic ahead, you'd be forgiven for saying Daly might just back out of this one rather than using the slipstream. And oh dear, it's happened again. And I have sent a message to Matt, who is the man in charge of everything here at CFS, just to see if there's anything I can do to relieve these connection issues. But unfortunately, it's something we're going to have to go on with for the moment. With 4 minutes to go in the qualifying session, and it's rather weird really, because the qualifying it's not disconnecting me from the game, because the qualifying thing is still up, it's all working, it's just the cars are disappearing momentarily. And well, regardless, we do welcome you all along to the stream if you're watching from home, as we just wait to get back into the game. And well, it's as frustrating to me as it is for you, but unfortunately it's something we're going to have to soldier on with for the time being, as I think it's just desync, to be honest. I don't think it's much more than that. And well, we're back in now, and it's mightily frustrating. As I said, I have messaged Matt, so we'll see what he says. But I think it's very much a case of my internet not being a fan of this Australian server. And oh, it's happened again. Okay, this is getting slightly silly now. And I'm going to see if I can ask around. If you give me a moment, we've only got 3 minutes left in the qualifying session, so hopefully we can bring you the battle for pole. But as you can see, this is what my R Factor 2 window is saying. There's nothing with the OBS settings. In fact, I'm getting a rather clean run of it on OBS. But well, I'll see if I can ask someone for help. And in the meantime, we'll wait for the game to let me back in. I'm getting yellows. I'm just not seeing the cars, which is the most frustrating thing about this. And I think what we'll do after the session, we'll go for a quick game restart and see if we can figure out from there. But right now, this is certainly not the ideal scenario to be in. But it is still Wayne Walker on pole position. I don't think that's changed at all, with 2 minutes now to go in this session. And refreshing the overlay and everything, not seeming to do a lot. I'm just waiting for the promise in my ears of having every car again. But right now, I'm afraid the news isn't particularly good, as I think I will restart my R Factor 2 and hopefully that fixes something, particularly as I'm not hearing much in my ears. So if you give us a moment, I'll commentate on through it, because I think it's only fair, and I'll see if I can get the live timing screens up as well. However, right now, Wayne Walker on pole position, with Stephen White in second. And the unfortunate news from the camp is that my R Factor 2 is having a bit of an issue connecting to this server, and which is frustrating because it took a while to set everything up, and there was no signs of anything going wrong. But clearly the game having other ideas. And it should only take a moment, and we'll rejoin you ahead of what's going to be a 40-minute race 1 and a 40-minute race 2 as well. So the 2 races ahead of us this morning. And as I'm just loading back in, the ping is quite poor. And I do apologise if you can actually hear that audio from the cars messing up a little bit. That's unfortunately what R Factor does when it loads in. But hopefully we can get these issues away in qualifying nice and quickly, and then, well, hopefully move on into the race quickly as well. As I'm afraid to say, right now there is absolutely zero movement on my screen, so I'm not really sure what we can do. There we go. We're finally back into the game, and the qualifying session is actually now over as well, unfortunately, and it was Wayne Walker in the end on pole position. And actually I'll give you the rundown on what happened there. As it was Wayne Walker on pole position, with Stephen White in second position, Craig Broadbent in third, Mark Young fourth, and well, we'll go through the order in a moment anyway. But well, 5 minutes to go in the warm-up session now, and well, we might as well go trackside, as why not at this stage? As oh dear, it's kicked me off the thing. There we go. And well, welcome to the warm-up session. Hopefully nothing dramatic happens here. And I do apologise for all of these issues. It was all fine just yesterday, and I'm always thinking about it happening again. But hopefully we can be okay. As let's give you the car audio back as well, and make sure to say hello in the YouTube chat if you are with us. And so, with two 40-minute races ahead of us, the drivers really, they can really relax and focus, I suppose. I'm also going to disconnect from the broadcast booth because I feel like that might help me a little bit. But yes, two 40-minute races ahead of us, of course. And, well, I suppose that kind of affects how the drivers approach these races, purely because they've got another one if something all goes terribly wrong in the first one, and well, that can always be a huge help to a driver's morale, and I suppose but I think the real question is ahead of us is down into turn one. What's going to happen there? Because you'd purely because of his qualifying pace, you'd put Wayne Walker. You'd probably tip him for pole position, but he's got pole position. I apologise. It's been a long, it's been a long stream already. But yes, you'd probably tip Wayne Walker for the win here, as long as he can get a good run down into turn one. I think that's what we're going to be focused on. I think that's what he's going to be focused on. As he now heads through sector 2 and the back end of this circuit, and it's a very Australian circuit. This you've got the run down into the back straight in a moment, and it's a very short circuit as well. Similar in characteristics actually, this track to the Norris Ring, I'd say, over in Germany. As Walker does go to the front of the pack, 2-minute flat on race pace, it appears. And I wonder, 1:02 flat, I should say, even. And, well, I wonder if that's sort of what Wayne is aiming for here. Just 1:02 flat, and to just build a little bit of a gap to the rest of the field off of the start. And you'd say that's surely his plan. As Walker comes on through to finish another hot lap, and I think this will be his last one actually, as he's going to go for a practice start, which is always nice and interesting. Of course, being rear wheel drive, these in fact no, he just pulls off to the side to come back to the pits. It wasn't going to be a practice start in the end, but well, I imagine if you set pole position you don't really need to do a practice start. As Broadbent's going to come on through to start his next lap. So I can hear people beeping their horns in the background. As touch wood, oh, I can't find any wood around me. There we go. It should have fixed all of our issues. I think they've been sort of ironed out, and we can focus on actually enjoying the race now, which is always encouraging. But as we go to the session switchover, I think it's time that we head on over to the race intro, and we get on with the job at hand. I just find the right music. As here we go then. Let's go through the starting grid as well. Once we get to the session changeover point, we'll move over to the starting grid. And what I can do is give you confirmation of the qualifying results that we had a moment ago. Of course, we weren't unfortunately here to see them. But it is Wayne Walker on pole position with Stephen White in second for White Dog Racing. Craig Broadbent is in third position in the number 350, followed by Mark Young. Daniel Edisano is in fifth position with Alex Kidas in sixth. Brett Gooden is in seventh position from Billy Efanza in eighth. Justin Bryce is in ninth position with Peter Sparing in 10th. As we have actually gone to the race one, so we'll just quickly finish out these standings with Vickery Asker in 11th, Paul Robinson 12th, Sean Stafford in 13th, and then it's Kernu Aaron in 14th with Liam Tollard Williams in 15th. Alex Daly starts 16th with Ashley Kutchi in 17th. John Slow starts 18th from Bradley Martin, Matt Ogg, and then finally the last two drivers are on the grid, Craig Stoddard and Steve Dunn. So we've got 40 minutes around this circuit coming up. And well, we can head to the game because it's coming up very, very shortly indeed as we put all of the various overlays and things back up. As you see, Wayne Walker currently on pole position. As we do go to 5 red lights. And it is lights out and away we go. And Wayne Walker gets a very, very good start actually off of the line as they barrel down into turn 1. He's going to find himself under a little bit of pressure with the slipstream actually in the bright, vibrantly pink car. But down into turn 1, Wayne Walker holds on to the position as the rest of the field fly on through. And, well, everyone remarkably clean through that first section of circuits as we go to looking further back in the field, and it's happened immediately, I'm afraid to say, as we've, unfortunately, with all the cars together, have had another issue. So we'll just wait for that to resolve itself, as I still don't have any word from Matt on what I should do to sort this. But I'll give them another nudge and let you know. But we were all hopeful it was working for a moment, and well, now it's immediately crushed our hopes, and well, we'll just wait for that to sort itself out. As we're back into the game, and we've got a yellow flag going on as someone has had an incident, and I'm hearing in my ears yellow, 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 as it's immediately happened again. As if you give me a moment, I just need to see if I can get hold of someone from the top, and we've actually fully disconnected from the game, so give me a moment. I'm trying the best I can to fix this, but I'm afraid it's being very, very not too sure the word is. I actually physically cannot get into the server now, and I wonder if, I believe this is my end at least, and yes, we're locked out of the game, and unfortunately at this early stage there's nothing we can do, as I cannot physically get into the server at this stage, as I was connected last night with no real issues, and unfortunately it appears that those issues, the issues that, well, we've got issues now essentially, and well, I can only apologise to the watching on viewer, because I'm trying to get back into the server, but it's unfortunately being very, very odd. There's still no word, and well, we'll continue on. Actually, if you give me a moment. So welcome back everybody, and I can gladly tell you that this is not on my end, and unfortunately it's something that's going on with the game itself, and well, I've just been told by the league owner that it's something on the server side, so we can relax, and we are going to get some racing ahead of us this morning. And well, I'm in the race channel at the moment, and just listening in to see if we can get any updates or any word on what's going to happen. And well, the server will be back up in a moment, so there's no concerns from our end. And well, thankfully, it was a server issue. We won't be missing any racing going on here. But well, I think the most appropriate way to go from here would be to go to a quick break on the stream as we wait for any further word on what is going to happen, and well, I'll go back in a moment. So, after what we'll say is an unwelcomely tentative start to the stream, we are back, and we have some racing for you, or we will do in a moment. They're just waiting for all of the drivers to get into the lobby. And, well, I cannot tell you the relief that that was an issue with the server, and that we are, in fact, not going to miss any racing, because no one likes races where you're stuck getting into servers and things like that. And so far, I can tell you that, fingers crossed, the issue hasn't persisted whilst we've been in the small practice session, as I would take you down to the circuit, but unfortunately we're going to be switching sessions in a moment, so it would look a little bit weird to switch between sessions and back and forth. So just the update really is that we have got some racing for you in a moment's time, which is very, very encouraging indeed. And of course the grid will be staying the same. It will be two 40-minute races, and past that, hopefully, it should be a good amount of racing. But the red flag, slightly dramatic, and well, a welcome to the series for me, I suppose. And well, hopefully we can get some pretty good racing in the next few moments' time. And they're still just sorting out the practice session, and then, as I said, they'll be going to a warm-up, I'd imagine. I say I'd imagine, I have just been told they'll be going to a warm-up, so I can tell you that much for a fact. And well, further than that, hopefully it will just be a good amount of racing. And well, we might as well actually go down to the track for a moment. And oh, just said that they do the switching of the sessions. So never mind. I take that back. I believe we'll be running warm-up to its full length, as I would imagine that that's what they'll be opting to do. But here we are at the wonderful Hiden Valley Raceway. And as I said, I'm pleasantly surprised with this circuit, as I wasn't expecting a great deal. But, well, it seems to be a rather interesting track to watch, as we see a couple of drivers are going to opt to just get themselves back into the rhythm in the early stages. The green flag does fly at the end of the pit lane, and touch wood, we shouldn't get any further issues. But it's going to be Alex Daly who gets us underway in this secondary warm-up session, and so within 5 minutes time we should be hopefully racing and underway. And welcome everyone to the stream as well. I do apologise about the rampant chat bots and things, as I recommend not clicking on those links, as unfortunately I don't have the moderator permissions to get rid of those. As I wonder now how the drivers are starting to sort of approach this, and whether they do opt to do these little warm-up runs just to make sure they've got everything back in order, as obviously all of the admins have to now sort out the grid and things like that. So I wonder what the thinking is behind all of this, and whether you do just want to get into the lobby. Of course, anything that usually is an unwanted pause is always something that's not ideal as a driver. And of course there'll be concerns from the drivers of recurrence of this issue. And I've had plenty of 24-hour races particularly, where you've had a server issue, you've come back in, you've tried to get yourself back into a rhythm, and there's been a recurrence. And that's unfortunately just the nature of R2, as you can sometimes, oh dear, as there's a spin around, a half spin at most really, for Alex Daly. But yes, where R2 can just seem to not be your friend on a particular day. And I'm sure everyone here will be hoping that we don't get that sort of issue. But it will be playing at everyone's minds. I'm sure it's playing at my mind, that's for certain. So we see an absolute swarm of cars down the front straight. And I think a lot of them are doing practice starts actually to try and just make sure that maybe the very start one that we did a few moments ago, maybe that wasn't the best one. You need to just get back into the rhythm and sort out your starts. Maybe that's something that they need to think about. As we look at Justin Bryce, who's currently on, I'd say pole position, but it's not pole position really, is it? It's top of the timing tower at least. Actually beaten out by Craig Broadbent. The number 350 car is setting a 102.6 and or 668, about 9 tenths of a second ahead of Justin Bryce, who is this man that we watched now. And look at the car as it heads on through the left-hander and just leaning to one side, essentially. The amount of force being put through the suspension. Oh dear, that's a little bit too much force being put through the suspension for Justin Bryce. And, well, he's hit the tyre barrier, unfortunately. As we look at Alex Kidas. Navigating a little bit of traffic, the marshal waving the blue flag, and 40 seconds to go now, and then we'll get into the race. And I think, as I actually can't go to the starting order, so in fact yes I can, so let's remind you of the starting order here around the Hiden Valley Raceway as we'll go to the event thing, put the intro music on, turn the desktop audio off, and have a quick look through what is going on in this session. As in fact we don't have the qualifying order, do we? Because the server's been reset, so unfortunately that's not information we have for you. But I can tell you that they're just switching over sessions now, and then we'll be getting into the race. And I imagine the drivers will want to be spending as little time waiting around now as they physically can, and just get into this one, as particularly with any unscheduled intermissions, that tends to be the case. As let's head down to the track once again, as we see everyone trying to get onto the grid for a second time, and maybe a lucky reprieve for some of the drivers that maybe didn't get the first race start particularly ideal. A second chance, and a bit of a chance at redemption, we'll say, as well. And I'm going to be mindful this time to actually see if I can switch the groups on the I can't, but on the cameras, so that we can get a better look of what's going on. This is actually on board with Stephen White in the 971 car, looking ahead at the pit straight. As shouldn't be long now before we get some action going on here. As we do now go to the lights. And it is lights out, and away we go here at Hiden Valley for the second time this evening. And Wayne Walker gets as good of a start on this second run as he did on the first one. Down into turn one, he's going to once again stay into the lead, the pole sitter in this race, with Stephen White just filtering in behind him. So the top three stay line of stern through turn one, and just as it was, in the previous run, we are pretty clean for the time being. This is Brett Gooden, who has got Asker just behind him, trying to make a move around the outside, but in fact he's going to be overtaken. There's a little bit of bumping between Asker and John Slow, who's trying to make his way through in the monster car. He's got someone down his inside. That is Sean Stafford, who is able to get through in the number 99 car, just ahead of John Slow. And John now just trying to settle back in. It's been overtaken a couple of times, and well, we'll be looking to see if he can get the eyes forward for the time being. It's still line of stern at the top. As I said, we've already completed a lap here of the Hiden Valley Raceway, and well, 40 minutes to go. Let's put the timing tower up. Let's put the all of the information that you need up. As now we see Slow trying to make a move down the inside, but not quite able to do so in the end. And we'll have to settle back in, as it's very much pack racing here at Hiden Valley with 38 minutes to go now. Deep into the second lap here as Wayne Walker again almost sliding the car around the hairpin, leading this one pretty safely for the time being. With that being said, and I think Stephen White behind him is starting to resign himself to the fact that Wayne Walker's got a great deal of pace in this race. And well, the slipstream might just help out White a little bit here. As they roar down into turn 1 for the third time now, and Walker sets the fastest lap of the race once again. That being said, Stephen White will be encouraged by the fact he set the fastest sector in the last sector of the previous lap, as they continue to snake on through. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. I'm looking through the order to see what happened there. And I'm afraid to say I can't figure out what happened with that sector 1 yellow flag. Is must just be a half spinner or something. We'll switch to the interval so you can see the gaps as they are on track. It's now Stephen White actually not resigning himself to the fact that Wayne Walker's got a great deal of pace here. He's going to try and have a challenge down into turn 1, you would suspect. He pulls to the inside, and the slipstream being rather powerful with yellow flags in sector 2. Wayne Walker gets the later braking and is able to hold on to the race lead for the time being with 36 minutes to go in the session. It is a very, very long stint to be driving whilst you've got someone on your tail, as I can tell you that Eben Hazer is down in 22nd position. He was the cause of one of those yellow flags, as he's now into the pits and taking a little bit of emergency service. You can see actually the rear wing not being attached to that car, so clearly a dramatic incident for him. Wayne Walker still holding on to this one, however, and still holding on quite firm as well, with 35 minutes to go now. And Bryce actually has retired from the race. That's Justin Bryce down in now 20th position. Of course, will be last by the time everyone stakes on through once again. So clearly the cause of the couple of yellow flags that we've had at the moment. And I just want to take a moment to have a little bit of a look at this battle that's going on. Daniel Opstiano and Mark Young just ahead of him in the number 07 car. The number 4 will be looking to do all he can to get through it. And, well, it's not going to be any mean feat at all. The slipstream down that back straight, the front straight I should say, is very, very powerful indeed. And might just be what is needed for Daniel to try and get through it. 3 tenths per second is the gap as they head down on into turn 1. He's got the slipstream, and the question is, has he got the braking performance as well? Down into turn 1, he pulls to try and lunge down the inside, does Daniel. And, well, it's a very audacious lunge, and I'm glad to report that he's made it absolutely superbly down the inside. Daniel with a huge move, and, well, I don't think Mark Young will even mind having a dive bomb like that be what costs him fourth position in this race, as that was absolutely mighty indeed. As Daniel now looking to focus on forward and try and build a little bit of a gap to the car behind. Something that right now he's doing rather effectively with Craig Broadbent, actually. Looking the most likely to make a move, as he's got, who's that ahead of him? Stephen White, actually, who has fallen by the wayside a little bit in comparison to Wayne Walker. .8 seconds the gap at the top of the field, with White and Broadbent separated by a mere 2 tenths. And, well, both of them looking to, I imagine, have this second position at this stage in the race. Maybe if Craig Broadbent does force his way through, then they'll think about running in tandem for a little bit to try and catch the gap back up to Wayne Walker. Craig Broadbent still just behind, and now perhaps with the slipstream and a 5/10 of a second gap, he's going to be able to have a little bit of a late lunge here. You can see just how powerful that slipstream is being in this race. They head down into turn 1. He thinks about the move once again. It's almost a repeat of the previous lap, and in fact it's a little bit of a squirrel on the brakes for Craig Broadbent as well, as I think he'll be a little bit frustrated with that, and the fact that he's just a little bit too far back to make any moves in a positive direction in this race, as I believe we've actually got a spinner, and it is a spinner. It's Brett Gooden, and I'm not too sure what happened there, but he did fall down the order quite a fair way, and has now got Bradley Martin for company just beside him. And who's that making a move down into one of the 90-degree corners in this circuit? It was Alex Daly for Blacklist Motorsport trying to make a move. It wasn't going to be in the end. However, now he is going to go for a move, and he's clearly got... Oh no, he's onto the grass! Is Tollard Williams, and well, he falls right by the wayside, down into about 16th position to the back of this particular train, and Alex Daly gets on through. He just kind of pressured him into that outside line, and maybe on the marbles just got onto the grass a little bit, did Tollard Williams. And in fact he's round once again, Liam Tollard Williams, and well, looking to recollect his thoughts, and with Steve Dunn flying on by us. Oh, Dunn's made a mistake as well, and it was almost a very dramatic collection across the circuit, but Liam Tollard Williams can get back going again and try and brush off what just happened to minor errors. It cost him dearly in this race at the moment. And, well, looking to, as I said, get back on and try and do something positive in this race. Of course, they've got the second race coming up, and Paul Robinson trying to make a move down the inside, not quite able to do so in the end. But with the second race coming up, it's not out of the question for him to be able to make something out of this in the end. Paul Robinson now trying to make something out of the current situation. He's trying to make a move on Butcher Kuniaran. And he's very close, actually, is Paul Robinson. And now down the inside, he brakes as late as he dares, and he makes a little bit of a mistake, but no more of a mistake than Kuniaran himself, who had a huge lockup and, well, almost was starting to feel a little bit flustered there, you have to feel. And definitely don't want to be running off of the road when you're under pressure, as one position is obviously better to lose than 3 or 4. And Paul Robinson will know that Cunningham knows this. It's like international intelligence, isn't it? But, well, as I said, we'll just be trying to pressure him into a mistake, as that seems to be the best way that people are making moves in this race so far, apart from the standard dive bomb down into turn 1. As I can see, actually, it's going to be a pit stop for Butcher Cunningham. And I'd imagine able to get to the end, perhaps. There's a couple of takers for the pit stop, actually. And I do believe there is going to have to be one in this race. It's a 15-second stop, with Matt Ogg actually retiring from the race in the meantime. But look at the visual advantage that Wayne Walker has got on the rest of the field at this stage in proceedings. In fact, he's just about lapping. I think that's Ebenezer just ahead of him. And, well, Stephen White is still enthralled in a battle with this man, Craig Broadbent, who can't find a way through. And maybe through the pit stop phases, he's going to be having to make that move. And I do wonder what the thinking behind this is, because he clearly hasn't quite got the extra pace needed on Stephen White to try and get a way through. So maybe he needs to pull something special out of the bag now, Craig Broadbent, or alternatively settle for the podium. Whichever one he chooses, I'm sure has his own merits, but we'll have to wait and see. A little bit of back marker traffic ahead is going to be encouraging, as it can lose White a little bit of time, but Craig Broadbent just not able to get that extra speed to get through. I imagine you need to be about a second faster than someone to get past them. And Broadbent not quite being afforded that luxury at the moment. Still stuck behind us here. Yellow flags in Sector 2 with Kidas coming into the pits. And Brett Gooden actually trying to make a move now on Alex Daly for 11th position. He's going to get the move with Alex Daly going a little bit wide. And Brett Gooden's going to say thank you very much. I'll go on through and, well, see if I can chase down the 5.4 seconds up to Paul Robinson ahead of me. And Alex Daly still trying to get back through. And who was that who made a mistake? It was a white car, I can tell you that much. And past that, I can't really say much. But it's allowed these people to lap him, and that's for certain. I think it was someone well down the order, actually. I want to say it might have been Kidas. And no, it wasn't Kidas. Who it is then, I simply cannot tell you. But this back marker traffic, as everyone starts to do some pit stops, is starting to affect Craig Broadbent and Stephen White's battle a little bit, as Broadbent is once again very, very, very close. And I wonder, is he now just that little bit closer than he has been on previous laps to try and force a move on Stephen White just ahead of him? I'm not too sure. And, well, Craig Broadbent will not be getting desperate yet, that's for certain. Although Daniel is now catching up to him just behind. And I wonder whether this is going to start to play on Broadbent's mind. When you've got someone catching you and the person you're chasing, that's when you start to think about forcing some moves on that person that you are chasing. I think Stephen White will know that one as well as Craig Broadbent still stays behind and still not able to figure out a way through. Stephen White driving a very good defence here, though he's not having to do much active defending, we'll say, as we're approaching half distance in this race. The first of two, of course, this evening, or this morning even. I suppose it is the evening for the Australians. As now, the gap is only 7/10 of a second between Daniel Operdiciano and Broadbent, which is causing a little bit of a three-car battle to go on here, with Stephen White looking a little bit squirrely. And maybe encouraging the chasing pack a little bit. Of course, the question is all about what's going to be happening during the pit phases. As we see the majority of the field not having taken a pit stop yet, and I'm starting to wonder whether they are going to have to take a pit stop in this race. I'm not too sure. If they do, then that's going to cause a huge bumper effect in the rest of the field, with Stafford actually coming into the pits for his pit stop. Broadbent taking the pits as well. So that is crucial. So we can deduce that there will 100% be a pit stop, with Sean Stafford taking to the pits and Broadbent as well. So that is huge. Broadbent is the first into the pits, tries for the undercut. He's got 20 minutes to do on 22 minutes to do on that fuel tank. Something that I imagine will be achieved rather easily. But now the question is, what's Wayne Walker, Stephen White and Daniel Opestiziano going to do when it comes to the pit stop strategy? Stephen White has got the clear air now. Daniel has got the clear air as well. And the question is, are they going to pit and just try and stave off the undercut from Broadbent behind? And I do wonder that much. Stephen White, I would imagine, will be wanting to go to that 20-minute mark, or just as long as he can on the fuel, so that he doesn't have to worry about anything like fuel saving towards the end of the race. And, of course, it goes without saying that the less fuel you can put into the tank towards the end is the less fuel saving you have to do, and the lighter you have to run. But Stephen White needs to be cautious about the undercut here. And it looks like actually it is going to be his pit stop, as we have got a freeze hit, and whilst I hope this isn't a recurrence of previous issues, it also wouldn't greatly surprise me, as it is often in R-Factor 2 that when you get gremlins, they don't just disappear with the simplest fixes, and perhaps that's something that's persisted here. We'll wait to see if everyone has come into the pits, and as I'm hearing everyone again, there we go. So everyone continuing on, and it's Daniel who now leads the race. Wayne Walker's coming into the pits, I think, and no, he hasn't. He's actually had an issue, has Wayne Walker, and well, he's pulling over to the side of the road. And everyone's going a little bit slowly, as it's starting to make me think with Wayne Walker retiring from the race, Mark Young also retiring, with Daniel into the pits now. I think we could have a red flag here. Let me go into the driver's channel to try and figure out that much. We have got a red flag in this race, and it is a recurrence of that issue that we so dearly hoped would not come back. And I don't know what happened to my H there, and it disappeared apparently, but we so dearly hoped this issue would not persist, and I'm afraid to say it has. And I'm also afraid to say that can just be the nature of racing on R-Factor 2 sometimes, is you have issues, you do your best to fix them, and they just come back, and well, it's usually no fault of absolutely anybody. It's just one of those things. But well, red flag at the moment, and we're going to see if we can figure out whether we have more racing coming up for you this evening, which it would surprise me if we didn't, or if we're just going to press on with this and red flag that first race. And I doubt we'll be. I imagine if anything does happen, I would suggest that we'll be going into the second race immediately. But anyway, I'm going to go to a quick break as I figure out what's going on, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so I'm afraid to say that our worst fears have been realised, and unfortunately that is it for the racing today. Apparently they've got some power issues over in Australia, so unfortunately that's all of the racing that we're going to have for you this morning. Not this evening, well it is the evening in Australia, but this morning over here, and well, I have been Dom Dillon for the hour that we have been online, and I would like to thank you all very much for watching. And hopefully, we'll see you whenever this race either gets rescheduled or at the next one. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all later. Good night.